My commission as Secretary of State will terminate at midnight, March the 31st. Between now and then, I will address a few administrative matters related to my departure and work towards a smooth and orderly transition for Secretary of State designate Mike Pompeo.
There's Rex Tillerson bowing out gracefully as Secretary of State, working toward a smooth transition for the president's pick to replace him, CIA Director Mike Pompeo. But there will first be a confirmation hearing. Senator Bob Corker is the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, and he will be heading up that hearing. Senator, welcome.
Good to be with you, Sandra. Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Chairman, I would ask you if you thought, and you and your colleagues thought, that Tillerson was doing a good job.
Look, I had a very close relationship with Secretary Tillerson. I thought he gave sound advice. I enjoyed working with him very much. I knew there was, it wasn't perfect. The president and I talk often also, and look, I knew the relationship was not perfect. I did think, Sandra, that since about the beginning of December, they had begun to work together a little bit better, a little bit of a reprieve taking place, But look, the president is a very entrepreneurial person. I mean, he picks up the phone and, makes things happen. Secretary Tillerson came from Exxon. He was a CEO. They put processes in place and planned for the longer term. And I think there was just a clash of cultures. They had differing views on things. And ultimately, the president needs to have a Secretary of State that he feels good about. As I said to him yesterday when he called to let me know that Secretary Tillerson will be leaving and he was going to be nominating Pompeo. Look, everyone who serves in a cabinet position serves at his pleasure, and he needs to have people that he has faith in. So that's what he's doing.
Is Pompeo the right man for the job?
So it's interesting. Our lanes have really never crossed. He's been more in the intel area as head of CIA. I'm not sure we've even ever met, but what I hear about him is, look, he's very smart. He obviously knows a lot about the world being head of the CIA, and I look forward to sitting down and talking with him soon. We had a very nice conversation yesterday.
Have you had a chance? Oh, you had a chat with him yesterday. How did that go?
It went very well. He called, the president called, as I mentioned, about 10 o'clock from Air Force One. Pompeo called about 10:05 or 10:06, and we had a nice chat. And I had a long talk yesterday with Secretary Tillerson, thanking him, by the way, for being such a patriot. And I know he's proud to have been able to serve his country for 14 months.
In your official statement, Mr. Chairman, you said that your committee will consider the nominations that the president has put forward as expeditiously as possible. What does the timing look like? I know you've already pointed to April for this hearing.
Yeah. So he's already been confirmed once, right? So he will have to update his paperwork, which is laborious, and I hate that we go through, it's so difficult for this to occur, but I'm hoping it's going to happen in April. We've got a lot happening right now. As you know, the Iran deal is on the table as of May the 12th. The president's considering what to do there. The Europeans are working with our national security advisor and others on that. We've got the North Korea meeting coming up, numbers of issues with Russia and China we need to deal with. So, hopefully both sides of the aisle will understand the importance of having a Secretary of State in place, and I hope it goes very well.
Last time around, as you mentioned, Mike Pompeo was able to pull bipartisan support. 14 Democrats voted to confirm him as the CIA director.
Yeah.
One Republican, notably Rand Paul from Kentucky, voted no. And we're just now getting word, Senator, that Rand Paul is going to be holding a news conference on the Pompeo and Haspel nominations. As Fox News is reporting that some government officials told Fox News yesterday that Haspel's headed for a tough confirmation battle because it will likely relitigate the controversial Bush-era black site program. So we'll hear from Rand Paul this afternoon. What do these hearings and what does the process look like?
Well, I don't know Haskell at all. I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I just have never met her and don't know anything about her other than some of the reporting that's occurred over the last 24 hours. With Pompeo, I think because there are so many big issues that are coming up, the hearing, Sandra, will really, I'm sure, focus extensively on policy issues, especially on the Democratic side. And it will on both. But look, I hope the hearing, again, I think he got 66 votes in his last pass-through. There'll be greater scrutiny on this. There will, because of just what the position entails and how it affects how we project around the world. But again, I think it'll look, it's going to be contentious. We're moving into that period of time. The elections are coming up.
What do you anticipate are going to be the biggest issues with Pompeo, for example? Obviously, Iran deal is going to be crucial. Russia, North Korea.
I think all of those things. Just recently, Sandra, I've been feeling as we move into the 2018 cycle, I can just sense that it's becoming slightly more partisan on these issues. Again, I think he'll be confirmed. I don't know that much about him. I look forward to getting to know him, but we're moving into that season. The season, we get into it every 2 years, and my guess is it'll be somewhat contentious, but successful.
What about Haspel? Do you think she'll get confirmed?
I just don't know. I don't know enough about her to say, and as I mentioned, I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I've never heard her name until yesterday.
Real quick, Senator, before I let you go, the UK Prime Minister just announced the expulsion of these 23 Russian diplomats involved in this espionage related activities, as they're putting it. They're making a lot of changes. They've canceled all high-level bilateral contacts with Russia over this ex-spy poisoning. Final word to you on that.
Yeah, so look, if you have a country that you believe has come into your country to attempt to assassinate somebody, you've got to push back. I thank them for that. Prime Minister Cameron was in before us yesterday in a hearing. We talked about it extensively. Remember that the United States has also expelled Russians. We closed a facility in Maryland. We've closed part of a facility in California. So we've been doing similar things. We've got strong sanctions in place against them. More will roll out against some of the wealthiest people in Russia. As a community of people who care about democracy and freedom and liberty and justice, all of us need to be pushing back against the nefarious activities of Putin and Russia, which seek to disrupt and divide countries like ours.
Chairman Bob Corker, we appreciate you coming on the program this morning. We look forward to those hearings in April.